A Siberian forest vanished in 1908, 80 million trees, no crater. The Soviets hid the truth for decades, and the CIA wanted to know why. June 30th, 1908. A reindeer herder named Seaman Slyesbruck was about 60 kilometers from the blast epicenter when he saw it. Not an explosion exactly, more like the sky itself tore open. A fireball brighter than the sun, then silence. When he finally reached the impact zone weeks later, he found something that shouldn't exist. 80 million trees, all flattened outward from a single point. Like a cosmic boot print pressed into the Siberian taiga. No crater, no meteorite fragments, just absence. For years, the event was a curiosity. Scientists called it a meteorite impact, skeptics shrugged. The Soviet Union, freshly formed, had bigger problems, but here's where the story gets interesting, and here's where I need to walk you to a very specific shelf in this archive. The Soviets didn't send a proper expedition to Tunguska until 1927, nearly 2 decades later. Leonid Kulik, a mineralogist, led the team. What he found wasn't rocks or metal. It was devastation so complete, so uniform that it defied conventional explanation. The blast energy, scientists later calculated, was roughly 10 to 15 megatons. For context, the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima was 15 kilotons. Tunguska was 1,000 times more powerful, and it was natural, or so everyone thought. Fast forward to 1945, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the atomic age begins, and suddenly Western scientists are asking a new question. What if Tunguska wasn't a meteorite? What if it was something worse? What if the Soviets knew? The timing is almost cruel. Just as the world learned nuclear weapons were real, historians realized they'd been sitting on evidence of a natural nuclear event for 40 years. This is the moment paranoia took root. If a comet or asteroid could produce nuclear-scale destruction without warning, what else didn't we know? The Americans became obsessed. The Russians, predictably, became secretive. And both sides started connecting dots that may or may not have been connected, a habit that defined the Cold War. In the 1960s, American researcher Clyde proposed a wild theory. Tunguska was an antimatter collision. A chunk of antimatter, he argued, could explain the total absence of a crater and the scale of the explosion. The Soviet Academy of Sciences, reading this in open journals, grew quiet. They already had their own classified theories, and they weren't sharing. By the 1970s, Tunguska had become a Cold War obsession. The CIA funded expeditions. The Soviets restricted access to the site. This telegram right here, marked for official use only, shows American scientists requesting permission to study the region. The response came back stamped denied. The Kremlin wasn't letting Western eyes anywhere near Siberia's biggest secret. But here's the irony, and ironies are what I live for in this work. The Soviets weren't hiding Tunguska because they'd weaponized it. They were hiding it because they didn't understand it, and they were terrified the Americans would figure it out first, so they classified it, locked it away, made it forbidden, which naturally made it irresistible. In 1989, the Soviet Union began to crack. Archives started opening, and what emerged was almost disappointing to the conspiracy theorists. The Soviets had simply studied Tunguska as a natural phenomenon, carefully, quietly, but not as a weapon. They'd been paranoid, sure, but their paranoia was about Western spies, not about harnessing cosmic destruction. Yet the real story isn't what the Soviets found, it's what the event itself revealed about Cold War thinking. A natural disaster becomes a security threat. A scientific mystery becomes a weapons program. Fear rewrites history before history's even written. Tunguska didn't cause the Cold War, but it showed us exactly how Cold War minds worked. Today, Tunguska sits in the Russian Far East, mostly forgotten by the public, but scientists still visit, they still measure, they still argue about what happened that June morning in 1908. The leading theory now is an airburst, an asteroid or comet detonating in the atmosphere before impact. No antimatter, no Soviet weapons, just physics. But the paranoia it sparked, that never quite faded. The Cold War ended, but the logic it created, where natural events become strategic intelligence, where secrecy breeds suspicion, where the unknown becomes the threatening, that's still with us. Tunguska taught both superpowers a lesson about fear, and fear, once learned, is never forgotten. Subscribe. Each week we uncover the moments when history, paranoia, and secrets collided to reshape the world.